Hey, 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 hey. Black excellence, black beauty, and black pride. Black power from all diasporas coincide. Progressive truth and regression eventually collide. May the beauty of the people no longer be set aside. May the black queen's grace continually mesmerize the millions who couldn't see it when looking into her eyes. And the black man's plight no longer be the disguise. Oppression, emasculation, they wanna castricize him. Take him away from the black queen, put him inside prison for slave labor, he institutionalized. Wondering on the outside, is she willing to ride? Is she willing to ride? Is she willing to fight for the love, even despite the fact that he doing time? Love that conquers all will never fade with time. If she don't choose the love that appreciates every life, his flame might get dim and he may eventually.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Urban Impact Show. What's up, Shekinah?
Greetings.
Yeah, I'm happy to see you. I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks.
Because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
Coronavirus! Stop saying that.
It's getting real.
He's
Okay.
doing his own thing. Today, we are super excited because we have a show all about securing the bag. Secure the bag, secure the bag. Everybody always talks about secure the bag, but what does that really mean? Yeah. And how do you get that done?
Get this money. Many new investors have found that soon after buying their first stock, its value drops. It makes for a disappointing introduction to the world of investing. But it can also prove to be a valuable wake-up call, Shekinah, inspiring you to learn everything that you can about investing in the markets and the stock market. While investing in financial markets over the long term is an excellent path to wealth, it's not unusual to experience occasional losses as investment values grow or whether they go up or down, and that's called volatility. There are many investment vehicles that you can have. There are stocks, bonds, mutual funds, money markets, CDs, annuities, universal, or even whole life insurance. But the question then becomes, Shekinah, which one do I invest in, and do I have enough money to do it?
In layman's terms, and where I'm from, what that really means is cash rules everything around me, cream, right? Our boy Wyclef Jean summed it up quite nicely for us. And that's really what it comes down to, your access to resources and how you can better manage your resources and then leverage what you have.
Yeah.
So we have an old friend that is joining us today.
Yeah, man, listen, we have the brother Stoy Hall.
Stoy Hall in
the building. I am just super excited. I'm pulling up his bio right now because I want to make sure that we definitely get you guys the understanding of who this guy really is.
Right.
So Stoy Hall, husband, father of 2 boys, a former D1 football player at Drake University.
Some Robin sound effects today. Somebody help.
Graduated with a degree in finance with a minor in business law and insurance. Has been in the industry for almost 9 years now, and is an owner/partner in several entities. Legacy Fiduciary Services. He's going to explain what the word fiduciary means. Centric Wealth. E&M PLLC, Trinity Investment Firm, that all have the same focus, creating wealth for others. Stoy has always grown up against the grain and is focused on changing and disturbing the financial services industry as we see it now. Listen, I am super excited. I've been knowing Stoy since 2007. Since we were at Drake University. This is an amazing guy. And what I love about him, and I'm going to point this out because I want everybody to be clear on why we chose Stoy. Mm-hmm. Stoy is licensed as a fiduciary, which means that he is, by law, required to pick what is the best product for the individual client that is in front of them. You have other people who are licensed to sell stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or insurance products.
Yeah.
They can only sell what they are licensed to sell. Stoy, however, is, because of his fiduciary responsibility,
Right.
is licensed to sell it all.
And we vouch for Stoy because he graduated from the best university in the state of Iowa, the Drake University.
Yeah, all the Iowa State and UNI people and Grinnell people are getting ready to come for us right now.
That's all right. We can all learn how to manage our finances together. I think it's a great thing when you learn and you grow with people in a college setting, and then we get older and we go into our respective fields and our passions and how those can collide. And we can leverage all of those to better inform causes that we care about. Right now, we care about the Urban Impact Show, and we're going to come right back to you with Stoy Hall with those credentials behind his name because he knows what he's talking about.
We'll be right back.
We'll be back.
We are back. We are back. We are back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please, everybody, share this with your friends, with your family, with your co-workers, everybody. We are trying to figure out secure the bag, but how?
Right.
Shouts out to Shekinah for even thinking of that title. That was really good. So like I said, right before we went on break, and we actually came back on time, and it was my fault we came back on time.
Okay.
Not Shekinah's. Anytime we're
He's
late,
right. That's
anytime
true.
we're late, it's Shekinah's fault. Anytime we're on time, it's my fault. I just want everybody to know. I am super excited that we are joined in the studio by my good friend, Mr. Stoy Hall. Like I explained before we went to the break, he is a fiduciary. Not only that, but he is a CFP, which is a Certified Financial Planner, and he is a Senior Wealth Advisor. Shekinah?
Yes. So today we're talking about secure the bag. Common phrase, people always say that people measure wealth in different ways, but we want to get down to the reality of it all. It's tax season. Some of us got returns. Some of us didn't. Some of us haven't filed at all yet. We have a deadline coming up.
I need to file.
But me too. But we thought that it would be really helpful just connect with our Urban Impact family and talk about what is wealth management about? How do we create generational wealth? How do we manage the assets that we have? What are some things that we should be working on? And there are so many levels to that Rob and I had talked about. And so we want to make sure that we're starting at a foundational space. So, Stoy, can you tell us a little bit about budgeting? Like on a basic level of budgeting, how should we be looking at our expenses versus our income? How do we know if we're house poor or car poor, just paying too much for certain things? How should that level out?
I first think with budget, you need to come back to what does money mean to you, right? We always start with our meetings with money mindset. If you don't have the right money mindset, none of this matters. Okay. So first, you have to understand, do you have a good or a bad relationship with money, right? So when you purchase something, how does it make you feel? Do you get that pit in your stomach, or do you go, I'm good, right? If you say I'm good, that means you have enough income coming in that no matter what you do, you're going to be all right. If you get that pit in your stomach and you have to decide between this over toilet paper, see what I did there? Then you ultimately have a problem with it, and money is running your life. But when you specifically speak about budget, all you got to do is very easy. How much do I have coming in, and how much do I have going out?
Okay.
And so when we first do this, what we do is we do 3 months of your last income statement or your bank statement, right? And see all the expenses you have. And every time we do that, guess what our clients do when they come to the office? They look at us and go, uh-oh, I spend a lot of money at Target. I spend a lot of money in these areas.
Ooh, Chick-fil-A.
And Chick-fil-A, right? And when you can hone that down, you start to understand I'm spending money on what? What else? And then you categorize them. Right? What is actual variable expenses and what are fixed, and what is just fun money?
Stoy, people are always, especially in the black community, people are really nervous to talk about their finances, right? People are, they don't want to be embarrassed, they don't want to feel bad, and they want to feel secure, but they just may not know what steps they can take to get out of what they're in, right? They're robbing Peter to pay Paul is one of the statements.
Trying to make $1 out of 15 cents.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of these statements that are out there, right? You have people who are making 6 figures who are still getting payday loans, right? Because of how they're, like Shekinah said, how they're budgeting, how they're rolling into this thing. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, really, it doesn't matter how much money you have. We all have the same problem. And it comes back, again, like I said, money mindset.
Yeah.
And how your relationship is with money, no matter what the zeros are. But ultimately, in the black community, what we like to do is we like to spend money on J's, right?
Yeah.
We like to spend money there to show people, hey, we're good.
Yeah.
I want everyone to know I'm good. But ultimately, deep down inside, and all three of us can probably attest to this, is sometimes you're not good. You're not good at all. And if we could get over the fact that, hey, as a community, we're not good.
Yeah.
Right? As a community as a whole right now, we are not good. So why don't we come together and help each other get good without trying to prove it with a new pair of Jordans or a brand new car or something like that, ultimately.
Yeah.
And what about people who we're seeing now in our 2020 economy, some people have like the gig economy. So they may not have a W-2 as a means to support themselves, but they drive Uber or they do something where they get paid in cash all the time. Are there different recommendations that you would have for them as to the early money management or budgeting kind of way that they should go about that?
Yeah, and ultimately they need to understand they're business owners, right? I think a lot of people understand that they're making money, but I'm employed. No, you are a business owner. So there's a lot of things that you can write off, a lot of expenses that you have to track from a business standpoint. And I think that's a big picture thing that all business owners need to know is meet with someone who's an expert, which you can do free of charge, and they can help you get that list together. Ultimately, that will help your budget because you'll understand what's actually a business expense and what's my day-to-day expense. And a big one with that is your cell phone. A lot of people don't know that that is partially a business expense if you obviously are a business owner. So if you're driving Uber, guess what? Do you use your phone? Yeah, they all do for maps. They need it.
Right.
That could be one of those little things.
That's important to know. So we are talking to Stoy Hall, let me get this right, CFP, Senior Wealth Advisor. And we are talking about how to secure the bag. And we just started with a little intro of whether, just balancing funds.
Yes.
We're not yet talking about anything more grown up that these two dabble in all the time, all day. But just how to manage the money that's coming in versus the money that's going out.
Right.
So I read a book. My mentor gave me a book. I think it's Everybody Needs a Budget, or it's the title is something like that. But the premise of the book was that every dollar should have a job, even the dollars that need to be saved. And it introduced a concept to me, and obviously I don't know everything and I'm learning different things, but it introduced a concept to me of everything having a job and like this 50-30-20 rule of expenses being 50% of what you're bringing in, and then 30 is like a savings, and 20 you can break it up in different ways, look like luxury type things or non-essential things. Your play fund. Do you recommend things like that, or what is your advice to people trying to figure out how to set spending?
How to bucket their money.
Yeah.
Right? They put it in different buckets. This is my savings. This is my play money.
Yeah.
This is my retirement money. Right? This is my bill money. You're talking about the different buckets. So.
Yeah. No problem. Ultimately, you need to understand what are your goals. What am I doing right now? Right? Because that'll change all of that. Am I saving for a car? Am I saving just to get ahead? Do I need to just pay my bills?
Yeah.
Or am I getting married and having a baby or whatever that is? You have to get that first because it changes those percentages. And so when you meet with us, that's the first thing we do. All I talk about is your goals. I need to talk about what you have plans for this money, and then we can bucket it out. But ultimately, your fixed expenses, or that 50%, you really don't want that over 50% of your income, because then you have no money to save.
Right.
You have no fun money.
Right.
You're not going to get anything.
No lining, no lace front.
Right?
You just don't have
Just don't have
Yeah,
it.
because I've been trying to get some hair for a while. I don't
Robert
know if I
has been trying to get some hair for a while.
Long time.
Really, Stoy?
Hey,
You said that
at
with
least
a real
07.
deep voice, man.
Yeah.
God.
07.
So, a lot of people are probably watching because, the coronavirus has completely wiped the market down. Shout out to Lil Boosie. Wipe me down. And so...
He went there.
I did. And so, people are fearful, right? People are afraid. They're like, man, what should... You have one group who is like, all right, now's the time for me to jump into the market. I'm going to buy up some stock. Then you got another group who is like, I lost some money, or I haven't realized this loss yet, right? And so this is a really wide topic. Like, it's so much for people to understand. Yeah. Can you bring a little bit of simplicity to what we should be doing at moments like this when the stock market seems to create this scare or panic across the nation?
Do you want Stoy to answer that before or after this break?
Oh, we can take a break.
But a quick, almost, I think, producer.
Oh, yeah.
But how do people contact you, Stoy?
Plenty of ways. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, of course. You can email me at shall@centricadvisor.com, or shoot me a text, give me a call at 515-420-0120.
Okay, that's Stoy Hall, CFP, Senior Wealth Advisor. Facebook, Twitter, S Hall at centricadvisor.com, or his number, 515-420-0120. We are talking about how to secure the bag, and our wealth advisor has just been asked a question about the impacts of COVID-19 on the market and what people should be doing with funds in the market or funds that they wish to put into the market. We are going to address that in 30 seconds.
Right back.
Urban Impact Show.
She's kind of with her shoulders out.
Down.
Okay. And we are back. So you are watching the Urban Impact Show. We wanted to keep the mics on during the break just so that you could know everything that goes on behind the scenes.
It's real. We are real.
We are real people. We're talking
about real money too.
Yes, that is fluctuating all over the place.
My 401k is on the line. You know.
Don't look at your 401k. I don't recommend it. It may cause panic. We are talking about how to secure the bag here on the Urban Impact Show. And we are talking with Stoy Hall, who is a CFP, also a Senior Wealth Advisor. Basically, it is his job to help you make best decisions about how to secure, manage, and grow your own personal wealth. This is what I'm told. I don't work specifically in this industry, but I'm learning from Rob and Stoy today. So our first segment talked a little bit about budgeting. What does that look like? How should your expenses be in relation to your income? Stoy told us it's all about a money mindset. You have to figure out whether you have a good or bad relationship with money. When you come into his office, it's all based on your goals. What do you want to achieve? What are you working toward? You could be working toward a financial goal to save up for a car. You're going to get married. You're going to have a baby. You're going to finish your basement. Or you're just trying to get ahead and save more, stack more money. Either way, the plans may be different based on that goal. He also talked about people that have cash coming in. So you may not have a W-2 at the end of a year, but you still get income, but that comes through cash. Maybe you're an Uber driver. Maybe you do hair. You're a barber. You just work more in a gig economy type situation. And Stoy reminded us about those individuals being business owners and them having write-offs as far as their taxes go that can help with wealth management. Anything extra that we're missing in there, Rob?
No, I think I think you did a really good job at recapping with your notes over there.
Right, because I have notes and Rob does not take notes. So before the break, Rob asked Stoy a really interesting question that is on the minds of lots of people. Rob, can you repeat that question and then?
Oh, you talking about with the coronavirus?
Yes.
It's getting real.
That is the second time.
That's the second time. I told y'all 3 times and then I was done.
68% alcohol, hand sanitizer.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you all for joining back into the Urban Impact Show.
Yeah.
As you all know, our whole goal for starting this show, which Shekinah continues to push and remind us, is that our job is to give you information, is to create an opportunity where we want to control the narrative of the information that is given, especially to communities of color. With that being said, we are all overwhelmed with information about the coronavirus. Everybody knows markets have gone down, things have happened, and we wanted to hear from Stoy, who is a fiduciary, to get his thoughts and his opinion on what should people be doing right now when something like this happens. Because let's face it, y'all, this isn't the first time that a pandemic has hit that has destroyed the markets, right? And this definitely won't be the last in our lifetimes. And so we want to be prepared and we want you to be educated. So I'm going to toss it over to you, brother.
Yeah. So coronavirus, COVID-19. By the way, it's the first time I'm ever publicly saying anything about it. Mainly because when you think about a pandemic, you think about anything that's been happening, right? What are we suffering right now? We're suffering a correction. A correction.
What does that mean?
A correction means that when something's overinflated, as is the stock market and it has been, that it needs to reset itself. So we might have a 10, 20, 25, 30% loss to reset its values, and then it'll continue to grow. It is natural for any, if you look at the stock market from the last 100 years, we go through these, right? It just so happens to be that the coronavirus is the one that I had to do it. Is the one that's sending us into this tailspin. But I think what you had said right before the break, Rob, was unrealized and realized.
Yep.
I think that is the biggest misnomer when it comes to our money right now. And so I'm actually have a question for you.
Okay. We usually don't get the questions that come back.
It's coming.
I think Cornell West was the only guest that was like, what about you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
yes,
the question is,
yes.
Have you lost money in the market right now? Yes or no?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Did you
Maybe.
Did you make any sales inside of your?
Did I make any sales? No, I did not.
Okay, so if it's still there and you didn't make any sales,
you lost money.
You did not lose any money.
Really?
So what about this?
Why do you say that?
So I bought a stock that was worth $48. That stock is now worth $32. If I cash that out, I've lost money.
You have, and that would then become realized.
Only if you cash it out.
Only if you cash it.
But what happens if it doesn't go back to the 48 that I bought it at?
Then you will lose money at that point.
Then you did indeed lose money.
You did. Yeah. But until you sell,
because
you do not lose money.
It's unrealized.
Unrealized.
So that's the term?
Unrealized losses.
Unrealized losses.
Versus realized losses. Realized losses is what you take when you actually cash out at less than what you put in.
Can y'all tell Rob work in this industry? Because Stoy Hall is our guest expert of the day. I just want you to know. Unrealized funds. Return. Okay.
Now, that being said, it is important to understand that if you lose 100% unrealized return, your money is down. But ultimately, if you look at the longevity, and us being young, we have time to come back. A lot of people do. The market only goes one way. Isn't that correct?
No.
Wait, what is it?
In the long term, it goes up.
Well, that's correct. There has never been a 10-year period where the market has been negative.
Correct.
10 years?
There's never been a 10-year period where the market has been negative.
Got it.
And that's historically speaking, right?
And we're talking about market in general, not a certain company.
Right. We're talking about S&P, NASDAQ, Yin Sang, Dow Jones, right? And a lot of people, Stoy, they're looking at this. The Dow Jones lost 2,000 points, right? And then they see that the S&P is tracked at a different number than the Dow Jones is tracked at, or the NASDAQ 100 is tracked at a different number than the S&P 500 is tracked at. They're trying to figure out, so now we get into the differences of the indices, right?
He's going deep.
He is going deep.
Which index, right? So I'm gonna kind of let you run with.
We'll run with that one.
Yeah.
Well, first, I'm not sure. I think there was another part to the other question. Before we went to break, you kind of mentioned there are two schools of thought right now with the market being like near bear, then jumps up, then all around. So the school of thought is, ooh, this is opportunity. If I have extra cash, I need to get in on that. And then there is, oh no, Mayday, abort the ship, take my money out. And I don't know if as a CFP or senior wealth advisor, like you can tell people what to do, but just your thoughts around those two schools of thought. What is that?
Right. Yeah, obviously I can't give you advice without knowing your situation, but there are two schools of thought. But it also depends on where you're at in your life and needing that money. If you're someone who has a long period of time, this is good. This is a buying opportunity, is what we call it. To know that there might be a lower buying opportunity and maybe another one before we actually fully rebound, right? Yeah. Which is perfectly fine. That's how investors make money. People trading make money because they hit the buying opportunities and rebound, and now that's all their money made. Now, on the other side, at this point right now, you might as well wait for a rebound. You've already hit some of your loss. We did rebound a little bit Friday. We've got a lot of stimulus going on in the market. We just got an alert that the reducing interest rates again, this back down to 0. So they're really trying to pump it right back in. So if you had already not gotten out and you had taken that loss and you are retiring or need that money now, it might be a good opportunity just to hang on. Wait a little bit, because right now everyone's freaking out. But ultimately, when you look at the numbers for our economy, they're still solid. Yeah. We are still in a really good economy for now, that being said. So for me, I work with a lot of people who have time and they understand that we're going to buy when we have buying opportunities. So I'm in that school of thought. But the other school of thought is, maybe you move your money to something fixed and go ahead and just live life that way if you want to take advantage of it.
Something fixed. What does that mean? So
something fixed would be like a CD, some money markets, savings accounts, some savings accounts.
What about fixed? An annuity?
An annuity has some fixed in it as well. So fixed accounts meaning something that's going to give you a guaranteed locked in fixed percent. That's what we mean when we say fixed, as opposed to the market, which is kind of up and down or down.
So if your expenses aren't at 50% or less than of your income, should you be involved in these things?
If your goals are met for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct, right? Okay. So some of us might be focused on paying off debt, which is completely good. That's investing.
Especially when interest rates are at 0.
Going down and down and down, right? So it might be a good idea to spend down debt. But others might be investing back into your business. You talk about the Uber drivers and all of that. It might be time now to put money back into your business, so you're ready to make more money later. It's not always about investing in what we call investment vehicles. It could be real estate, and it could be your own business, which then down the road could give you a bigger return than the stock market can in the next 10 years.
Yeah. Now, you deal with real estate as well, right? With Trinity.
Yep, Trinity Investment Firm.
Trinity Investment Firm, and you guys deal with commercial. Commercial. Real quick, you know what? I think we got to take another break.
You like cliffhangers, don't
you? Looks like we gotta take another break. And what? 30 seconds, Shekinah?
I'm not responsible for this break, so. But let us know if you have questions or things that you're thinking about within your own finances.
Correct.
We want to make sure that whatever we're saying is relatable to our audience and that you're picking up what we're putting down. So let us know. Rob and Stoy can help you guide, and I'm just here to, talk about it. But we are talking with Stoy Hall, CFP Senior Wealth Advisor. He can be reached on Facebook, on Twitter, via email at shall, Hall, at centricadvisors.com. Advisor, singular.com, or via phone, 515-420-0120. You're watching the Urban Impact Show. We'll be right back.
Shout out to Sankofa who
yes
with our new intro outro music, man. Shout out to him, track. Man. That track is hot. That's a hot one.
I think so.
Please go out and definitely go check in on this stuff. All right, so we are here with my good friend. It's not just Shekinah. She's my good friend, but. We are here with my good friend, Mr. Stoy Hall, who is a fiduciary, who is a CFP, which means a certified financial planner, who is a senior wealth advisor, who is a realtor, who is a husband, who is a father, and just all around great.
Stoy got all the jobs.
All around great dude.
If you're looking for a job.
Yeah,
money.
Yeah,
about money.
So last segment, y'all, we were just we were just talking about the coronavirus, what happens. Stoy explained to us the difference between realized and unrealized gains in the stock market, losses that we can expect, but also to understand that the stock market will rebound. He also gave his opinion that right now you may want to hold instead of just jumping right in. You may want to hold for a moment, see what happens, because interest rates have been cut to 0, according to the feds. And so there's and I shout out to everybody who's watching, and thank you for your feedback.
Yeah.
And I get that there is a lot of information being passed right now.
Yes.
We completely understand that. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to bring it on. We're going to hone it on in real quick. We're going to get real simple with it. And Stoy's going to take it away with just talking about how do I get started and how much money do I need.
How much money do you need?
All of it.
Let's get simple. Let's get down to it. Ultimately, you need to feel humble where you're at and go talk to somebody. Not just somebody, a fiduciary who has the best interest at legally your best interest. Yeah. And once you can make that step and that determination that you're going to do that, I think that sets you on the right path. But you have to be comfortable with where you're at and understand that we do what's in your best interest. So even if I have to yell at you or tell you, hey, don't be buying those Girl Scout cookies, you're going to have
away
to listen.
From Chick-fil-A.
Get away from Chick-fil-A, Rob. You're going to have to. Once you start there, I think everything starts to open for you. You'll start to understand the decisions you make and how money really does affect you in every decision that you make. And then ultimately you'll start to see some income coming on. And now I know everyone's asking how much. I knew that was going to come up. How much does it cost, fees, all that stuff. Yeah. A lot of advisors charge you differently. Some charge you a percentage of your assets. Some charge you hourly. Some charge you monthly. Some do all sorts of combinations. We actually have a program for our lower incomes. It's about $35-$50 somewhere in there a month where we'll run all of this. We will do all of it for you. The budgeting, what decisions to make, as well as ongoing education in that piece to get you started. Because the most important thing is not, hey, can I invest my money now? No, you need to understand what your budget's doing. Because if you can't lock that down, who cares if you're investing? Who cares what return you get, because you're going to have to take it back out and go
pay for something. However much money you're making, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to let's use some examples, right? All right. So let's say a guy named Steve makes $100,000 a year, right? Steve comes into your office and he's like, hey, Stoy, I was watching the Urban Impact show with Rob and Shekinah. I saw you on there, and I want to figure out what you can do for me. You're going to talk to him about his mindset, his goals, what he wants to do. If he says, hey, look, I want to get caught up on my bills, so I need somebody to help me make sure I'm budgeting that correctly. I want some money left over, because I want to, have some form of entertainment. I don't want to sit in the house and Netflix and chill all the time.
Except for now.
Except for right now, social distancing. And coronavirus. And so we have... oh, that was my third one. I'm done. I said three.
And it was a
done.
weak one.
Yeah. Hey, I used it too soon. So he comes in. Steve is ready to talk.
Yeah.
What are we doing for Steve at that moment? Like, what happens at that moment that he needs to do coming and talking to you?
Yeah, so ultimately when we sit down, we're going to go through all those questions, the goals, your understanding of money. We're going to walk through your budget with you, and we'll make the good decisions on it, but we're going to walk it through. Yeah. Ultimately, at the end of that is, okay, Steve, do you want to hire us to make sure that you're keeping on track and we can continue education, or no? Right? And then we sign a contract, we're off and running. And then what happens is we end up getting access to all of the accounts. I'm talking about bank accounts, credit cards, retirement savings, all of that. And in our software, we can track every decision that's being made. And so you can see it globally, not just like my bank account says -$2 and I'm getting a $35 charge on top of it. Hashtag don't like banks. But ultimately, we can see the big picture, right? We can see what's going on in every bit of piece. And then we can say, hey, Steve, these are the things that we need to address. These are where we're going. And by the way, we make this decision, and this is what it looks like in 5 years. You can hit those goals. You can pay off your debt. And it happens a lot. I mean, right now, I know if you have at least $10 more coming in income, I've seen everyone get debt-free within 10 years. As long as they stick to the plan.
Are you telling me if I stop buying Chick-fil-A, that I could pay off student loans, pay off my car, pay off, because let's also face it, right? These companies know exactly what they're doing, right? Like, you buy a car for $14,000, they're charging a certain interest rate on it. You end up paying double the amount of the car by the time you pay it off, right? and so they've made a killing off of that, right? And I'm just like, man, like how do we help people get financially free? Like, what are we going? Like, how do we do it when they really feel strapped? When they really feel like they don't have enough money to survive? They just trying to pay the light bill. Right.
I think it's really, when you talked about buying a car, that made me think about something that I talked about with some friends prior, even student loan debt, public or private. Yeah. If you look at the amount of time that you are given to pay a student loan back, you can have a student loan for the cost that you would pay for a car.
Yep.
Right? So if your loans are totaling that, or one of them, whichever situation you're in, and just the mindset around that. Stoy was talking in our second segment about you have to figure out your mindset, your money mindset. So our mindset with a car is we have to pay this off in 5 years. But our mindset with a student loan is similar to that of a house. A house brings us wealth automatically. Student loan, depending on what you do with it. I am a proponent of education. I feel like education gives you tools to build a house. It doesn't build the house. You buy a house, the house is built. Those are two different things. And so I think that connects back with Stoy's money mindset. If you have the same, if we had the same mindset about student loans that we do about car loans, 5 years, maybe we wouldn't have this huge situation right now, or it would help, or if there's a thought process about repayment plans as far as what the government is willing to do if you go into specific industries, and 92% of applicants weren't denied for that. I was one of the 92. I'm a little bitter. Then maybe we wouldn't be there. So I do think it goes back to mindset. What is your mindset for your money? Is your money working for you instead of you working for it? And I feel like that applies no matter what income bracket you're in. Everybody has income. Everybody has expenses. It's just making sure one doesn't overload the other, right?
And we all need help, though. I think ultimately this is the one thing, money, that we don't ask for help. Everyone wants to do it themselves. They think they can control their own money.
True.
And it's one of those things that's why I have a CFP. It's why I've been in the industry for so long with the experiences.
Right.
I'm an expert in this. There's no way a normal person has the time, nor probably the want to be an expert in it.
Yeah.
You just talked about all the student loan stuff. I bet half that went over everyone's head. And ultimately, those are the decisions that we make. We are the ones that are professionals for that. I think it's funny how people always post about, specifically on Facebook, about their legal situation or some doctor thing, right? Never about money, right? But you're not the one diagnosing yourself as a doctor. You're definitely not representing yourself in court. You're hiring an attorney and a doctor to do so. Yeah. Why not hire the financial expert then?
Yeah.
Why do we put up this wall in this big barrier around money?
Yeah, because we're embarrassed, right? I don't want you to know that I'm struggling, or
or I don't know.
Yeah, and I want this perception to be everybody's reality, right? I ain't got no money.
That's what Rob liked to say. But full disclosure, Rob works in financial industry. Would you say that? Financial industry?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and does some similar things to Stoy. And I don't understand all those letters behind their names, but I just know it means they're really smart and they study for big tests and they've passed them, right?
He's passed more than me because those tests are really hard that he's passed.
I hear. All I know about is like Series 6. That's all I know. Right. We're talking about Secure the Bag today on the Urban Impact Show, and we're talking about finances and how that's not a popular thing to talk about. I've gone through lots of schooling. Rob has gone through lots of schooling. Stoy obviously is going through lots of schooling. And before you get to that financial focus things with those specific tests to get those credentials, we aren't taught specific things about money management that can be helpful on the road to financial freedom. So the Urban Impact Show wanted to have this family conversation about that. Full disclosure, Rob works in the financial industry, and I pay attention to money, right? I want to know what's coming in, what's going out, where is it going. My goal, I would always say, is for my money to make money while I sleep. Like passive income, right? Like I don't want to have to do something for the money to make more of itself, right? So I called Rob a couple weeks ago. Y'all know, Rob is my friend. He loves me dearly. He would not out me. I will out myself. I called Rob and I was like, Rob, I met with a financial advisor at my job and I got some concerns. I think maybe I should have listened to you 4 years ago when you kept telling me, call Stoy. And I said, I have a thing going on. I had met with a financial advisor. I didn't know the difference between the acronyms behind people's names or anything like that. I thought that because I linked up with a financial advisor and I was being advised on different things that I'm set. I have a budget. I don't exceed the budget. I make the money work for me. Eventually, it's going to flip well. I'm investing in my retirement. Got disability. I got this. I'm good. But I quickly learned on the phone call with Robert that
You were not good.
there was a way to be better, right? And so Rob's like, call Stoy. Now I come into the studio. Stoy, we need to talk, my brother. I just want to talk to you a little later after the show. But you don't know, and that's okay that you don't know. But what's not okay is to stay in a place of not knowing, especially when there's information everywhere. And we at the Urban Impact Show feel that we are your extended family, and we want to help.
Real quick, Stoy, do me a favor. Terms. There's a ton of terms that people, that we've been throwing out: fixed, insurance, stock, bond. What are terms that people should just simply be aware of if they're going to go talk to a financial advisor? If they're not talking about these terms, or if you hear these terms, what you should be looking out for. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, first term, fiduciary. We've hit that one a few times. That one's somewhat important. Probably the most important. You hear fiduciary, that means that they're legally bound to your best interest.
Correct.
That is probably number one. They don't have that, there's a red flag there.
Yep.
Okay. Next is when they start talking about fees and how they make money. One, are they hiding behind something? Or are they telling you flat out?
Yeah.
Right? So if they can disclose it right away and say, hey, you know what? I make percentage off assets or I make percentage off products. You need to know that.
Yeah, because nobody's doing it for free.
How do you know if your potential advisor is a fiduciary? Is there something behind their name? Is there like a...
Go to Broker Check. Broker Check. It's
Broker
on the
Check.
FINRA website.
Yep,
FINRA.org. I believe .com. I know .com. Go to Broker Check. Type their name in.
Where, is it FINRA.com or Broker?
We're going to make sure that it's
Okay.
FINRA.com.
Sorry, that would be me.
My money's on org. Just to let Rob know, my money's on org. And that looks like org to me, so I win.
No, he didn't.
FINRA.org.
FINRA.org.
Go to Broker Check, type in their name, and you'll be able to see their licensing. Okay? Fiduciaries are going to have your Series 65 or your Series 66.
Now, just to be clear, because I really want you all to understand this. We're not saying that if there's Series 6, Series 7 license, not to work with them.
Correct.
What we're saying is we want that if you work with them, understand that they can only sell what they have access to sell. If they are a fiduciary, however, they have access to sell more than what just a simple Series 6 or a Series 7 is able to sell you.
Correct.
That's good.
And I think it takes the conflict of interest is the biggest piece of that.
Correct. Yep.
Right. I used to be just a 6, 7, and all those other ones. Right.
Yep.
I used to just be that. So we would only have certain products that I make a commission on to sell you.
Yes.
Well, what if I always use this analogy? I think it's a really big one. What if you were to come to me and say, I want to pay off my mortgage. I want to take $100,000 out of my brokerage account. To do so, if I'm making money just on that, do I have a conflict of interest? Yeah, because I would be like, no, leave it there because that's how I make my money.
Okay.
Use a fiduciary. I'm going to
That's
say, does it make sense for your overall plan? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So I just want to reiterate what Stoy just said. The guy who can do stock or bond, who he or she makes commission off of, they're going to encourage you to go into things that they make money off of. Someone like Stoy is going to encourage you to go in whatever's best for you.
Okay.
Because that may not be the best for them. Because Stoy is set up in a way where he gets paid on your assets, on what you're doing, not just one in particular item, but he's able to cover a multitude of those opportunities.
Correct. There you
All
go.
right, more terms.
And
Terms.
FINRA.org.
Yes, FINRA.org.
FINRA.org. So fiduciary wasn't the main one. All the series is a big one. And then you'll see this one a lot, and that is, are you fee only or are you fee based?
Yes.
As an advisor. Or there's another one, commission based, but really it's fee based and fee only. Fee only does not sell any insurance. They can't touch insurance. They don't do anything that deals with any insurance product.
Like life insurance, annuities,
disability,
Yep.
long-term care, health, dental, vision, all of those. A fee-based can have access and can sell insurance products. Correct. Those are the biggest differences you want to know in that. And everyone has good and bad with it. I just know if you're a fiduciary, and as long as you're charging a fee only or fee-based, you at least have the best interest. We are personally fee-based because I think having the plethora of all the insurances makes our ability to build the plans even better.
Yeah. All right. We have now reached our final point here.
I know.
But this is so good. I feel like, man, like there's the producer said we got to do a part 2.
And 3 and 4 and 12, I'll be here.
Because we want people to really understand what is happening. So, secure the bag.
Yes.
But how? Stoy, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Go speak to someone. I mean, selfishly, me. Come here. Come to my firm. But ultimately, go speak to someone. Get over that personal hurdle and say, you know what, I need help. Because we all need help.
Yeah.
All of us do. We always do. And so go speak to someone. Get something started. You'll find out if you like that person or not. You can always move on to someone else, but go get it started somewhere.
No matter how much money you have.
No matter how much money you have. I don't care if you have negative 500,000 or you're worth $5 billion. You need to speak to somebody.
Shekinah, final thoughts?
I was just thinking of that because I thought you were going to come to me next. And I try to always be prepared, but Rob is the Shekinah of the day. I really appreciate this story. I think it's really important to talk about financial freedom. That's really what we're talking about. Access to funds to move how you want to move, right? And especially in like urban communities, hip hop, R&B, all of that. Everybody been talking about how cash rules everything around us since day one, right? Jay-Z in 444 was a huge, in my non-financial background opinion, a huge financial freedom download, talking about credit and why some of those things are important.
Credit
and so
important.
I think that's really important, family, and we have a huge opportunity to leverage resources in people like Stoy, our friend from the best university in the state of Iowa, and also like the internet and books and all of those things. And we want us to be empowered to move how we want to move and have access to funds and financial freedom. So I'm down. I am going to make my appointment with Stoy. Had an appointment with some previous people. That just goes to show you never know what your opportunities may be. It's just like shopping around for different stuff, you know. Something may fit you better than something else. So I'm going to see. And I think you should too.
We are living in perilous times where all these opportunities may not exist in the near future. There are moments that will not come back around again. Stocks may not be worth what they're worth at this moment ever again. You may not live to see some of the great things that they'll be able to do with technology, with what's happening in the fiduciary and the financial markets today. But I encourage you, just like Shekinah and Stoy have said, to talk to somebody. It is so imperative, not just for you, but for your lineage, for your youth, for the people around you, for you to be able to do something and talk to somebody about what's going on. I get it. Some of us are embarrassed. Our credit score is low, or we don't have the money that we desire to have or that we want to have, or even that we make it look like we have. I get it. But at the end of the day, I would rather have $500 in the bank and look like I have nothing than to be negative and look like I have something.
I know that's right.
I want you all to understand that there are things that you can do to help create and generate wealth. 2 reasons why people buy money. They either want to generate wealth or they're fearful of something happening. So, people like Stoy, they are here to help you understand the risk that you are taking. Number 1, by not talking to somebody. And number 2, by talking to somebody. That's why we did this show. Shekinah calls it a family conversation that is needed. And it is truly needed because too many of us do not have, as a matter of fact, 63% of Americans right now do not have enough money to cover a $500 emergency if it was to happen right now. We are living in perilous times. Let's get our money together. Let's get our money up. Let's get our credit scores up. And you've been watching the Urban Impact Show. Thanks for watching. We'll be back, in 2 weeks? 2 weeks? You want to give the info for Stoy one more time?
Stoy Hall. Which page of my notes would you like me to go to, Robert? Stoy Hall, CFP, Senior Wealth Advisor. He is the man with the master plan that's going to help us be financially free. You can reach Stoy on Facebook, on Twitter, at SHALL at centricadvisor.com. Or you can hit Stoy up on his telephone because he just freely gave out his number to all of y'all. 515-420-0120. Stoy's a married man with 2 children, so be wise at how you use that number. But Stoy is here to help us with financial freedom, and we want to leverage all of that power.
Secure the bag. Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Impact Show. Thanks, Stoy.
Thank you.
See you later. Thanks, Stoy.